Hey guys, I just wanted to make a brief video on queuing, which is it basically I'm just going to explain here why it is the most important thing you've never heard about. Okay, so this thing is it's in our RNA, and most biology PhDs I meet who have, been like even double PhDs in biology do not know of this thing. It's never talked about in textbooks. It's not a necessary part of RNA, obviously, but what it can do is it can actually act as a substitute for guanine, replace it, and make the RNA more stable against transcription errors. It basically makes the process of wobbling that more complex organisms use simpler. Now, in order to explain why I think this is the most under-researched substance in medical history, I have to first mention how I found this and the heuristics I used to find out about this, because what I did is I kind of took characteristics of known essential supplements, things like choline, vitamins, not essential in the sense that you die without them, but just the basic micronutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, the amino acids, but also the things like choline. And I looked at what characteristics they had, and then decided to kind of reverse it and see if I could find a search method to find anything that probably shows evolutionary signs of having a similar role in our biology, is probably similarly important at least, but is not researched. And the first thing that popped up is queuine, and it's phenomenally interesting, the research that has already been done on it. So it's only been studied as a supplement once, which is crazy because this is one of the biggest research gaps in the history of biological research. The first study pulled up clinical level results in a mouse model of MS. And that's, as far as anyone knows, that's the first time they've ever tried supplementing it. So guys, we're getting a picture of the possibility space of the thing. It would be impressive if 1,000 studies had been done on queuine and then we found it hit like this. But either this is some really extreme fluke or this is useful for a lot of things. It's kind of like, you know how you hear about all sorts of serendipitous discoveries in biology and medicine? Penicillin and stuff like this. Well, it's actually partly because, as strange as this sounds, the more promising something is, the more likely it is to be found through unguided search. So the simplest example you can give is, say penicillin was not a broad spectrum antibiotic that could cure lots of bacteria. It would have been pretty much impossible for somebody to find its antibacterial effect if it had an effect on just one type of bacterium, right? So the point is, I guess, yeah, we're not, when we talk about a substance being promising, we're trying to get a map of its possibility space. And to have this result at all, even through lots of studies on this thing, would be amazing. To find such a result so early, as long as it's not fraudulent or something, is an astonishing sign of how much potential this thing has. And we should keep researching it until we find out whether it really is as promising as it looks like or not. But yeah, other things about queuing. I mean, it's involved in recycling BH2 to BH4, which is, it means it's basically involved in the melatonin cycle, in the dopamine cycle, in the serotonin cycle, in the norepinephrine cycle. Almost all the major monoamines. And that recycling is really important because it's actually, poor recycling of things like this is associated with a lot of different mental health disorders. But let's go into the other ways this thing is crazy promising, okay? So I mean, another cool result, this doesn't mean it's some kind of cancer cure or something, There's some very deep association between it and cancer, even in the small amount of research done. Basically, it's universally present in cells of most living organisms. Not everywhere. Yeast doesn't produce it, for example. But not only is it universally present in the cells of most living organisms, it's entirely absent from all cancerous cells. Cancers really want to shut this thing down for some reason, and we don't understand why, because when they do restriction testing, like they give mice an artificial Queuine deficit for some strange reason that doesn't increase their cancer risk at all, even though this does have some kind of huge cure. I mean, huge role in cancer given how universal the suppression is. So we don't know what the relationship is, but like the fact that something that has results like that already is not being researched is insane. This stuff, the reason I trust it is because of the evolutionary heuristics I found this with. I know that it must have played a very important role in our biology to get these sorts of dedicated transporters that are really rare. Basically, there's special transporters in our intestines designed to make our salvage of this really good. But I don't think I've even mentioned that. Oh, I didn't mention that it's in RNA. But yeah, I'll be making another video about it when I'm less tired, more lucid. That maybe will be better organized.